Howdy folks, and welcome back to Home with the Gnome, and today I'm going to be making steak sandwiches with just a few very simple and very inexpensive ingredients. I've gotten half a kilo of minute steaks from an online butcher. Minute steaks are probably the cheapest slice of steak that you can get, but cooked properly, they're just as tasty as the expensive stuff. To go with the steak on the sandwich, I'm going to be caramelising some sliced red onions and topping off with a couple of slices of tomato. All fairly straightforward, but for that little bit of something extra, I'm going to be making lemon aioli, which is going to need lemon, garlic, pepper, salt, and mayonnaise. Aioli, which I'm almost certainly mispronouncing, is a very common Mediterranean dressing which usually just consists of olive oil, garlic, and salt. To make a lemon aioli, however, you skip the olive oil, and as well as obviously the lemon, we're going to start off with an extremely generous helping of mayonnaise. This stuff is absolutely delicious, simple, cheap and quick to make, and it doesn't matter if you make too much. I'm definitely making far too much for steak sandwiches, because anything that you don't use, just seal up, stick in the fridge. It's good for up to 3 days, and I'm definitely going to be using more of this stuff on other sandwiches over the course of the next couple of days. I'm scraping the zest of one lemon into the mayonnaise. Once that's complete, slice the lemon in half, squeeze out the juice, making sure you remove all of the pips beforehand. Next, I'm crushing up some garlic in a garlic press and adding that to the mix. If you don't like garlic, you can just skip this step completely. Trust me, there's more than enough flavour going to be in here anyway. If you don't have a garlic press, it doesn't matter, just mince or chop your garlic up as finely as you can. How much garlic is going in here? I'm doing about 6 cloves. More than that and you're going to start to overpower the taste of the lemon, but, well, you're the one who's going to be eating it, so you put as much or as little garlic in as you like. Next, it's time to introduce today's guest star. Yes, it's Tiny Whisk, here on special arrangement from Binging with Babish. Fans of the Babish culinary universe will understand the joke. I'm going to whisk it up here just to blend everything together, and then we're going to add some salt and some pepper according to taste, and then that is ready to go. And that extremely simple lemon aioli, by the way, is the most complicated part of this recipe. Next, we're going to slice some onions. Red onions, because Rita likes red onions. I can't stand onions, so I really don't care what kind of onions you put in here. Green onions, red onions, brown onions. Whatever you prefer, whatever is going to caramelise best in a hot frying pan, according to your own taste. Get those onions into a hot frying pan and make sure you stir occasionally just to ensure that they don't burn. Once the edges start to brown and crisp, they're good to go. Now, this is already nearly done, so while the onions are frying, now would be a good time to start prepping your bread. I've got these mini baguettes here. These were actually bought part baked and finished off in the oven, so they're actually still quite warm. Get them sliced up and then start slapping that lemon aioli all over. Imagine you're buttering a sandwich, but instead of butter, you're using this lemon aioli. In the time it takes you to do this, your onions are probably going to be well on the way to browning. Once they're done, get them out of the frying pan, put them aside, and in that onion-infused hot oil, we're going to crank the heat right up and start doing the minute steaks. And they're called minute steaks for a reason, because you're only supposed to cook them for a minute on each side. In effect, all you're really doing is searing the steak on each side, but because the steak is so thin, that's good enough to cook them all the way through. And to aid in the cooking, I'm going to be using a steak press. Now, this is absolutely not something that you must use. A steak press is basically just a big lump of cast iron with a handle on it, and it keeps that steak pressed flat. Because even though we're only cooking these things for 1 minute on each side, that is going to be quick enough because of the high heat to cause these steaks to start to curl up, which is something that happens when you've got a lot of fat on a steak, and there is a lot of fat on these minute steaks. I could have trimmed the fat off before frying them, but the frying fat adds a lot of flavour to the meats, so I'm going to be trimming the fat off after they've cooked. Having that fat on the steak, however, because the fat contracts at a faster rate than the meat on the steak, that's what causes the steak to curl, hence why we're using a steak press. Well, this one's had about a minute on the first side, so remove the steak press, flip it over. There we go, that's what we're looking for. One nicely seared steak, and then repeat the process for another minute in order to sear off the other side. A minute on each side in a good hot frying pan should result in a medium minute steak. If you prefer medium rare or medium well done, then obviously adjust the cooking time accordingly. And once this bad boy's been done on both sides, I'm going to trim the excess fat off and get it into one of those bread rolls. The bread's already coated in a liberal helping of lemon aioli. Get some of those fried red onions on, dress it off with the sliced tomatoes, and then it's time to call in the services of our Portuguese judge. So, Rita, Portuguese judge needs to render her judgment.
Oh yes, and as I have proven, we are very good at sandwiches. Oh, that smells amazing. Oh my god.
Mine will be slightly different because I'm not a huge fan of tomatoes and I hate onions, so I'll fry some mushrooms up with mine and put some cheese on.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
And there's plenty more sandwiches, plenty more of the aioli left. And that'll go in the fridge and it'll be good for 3 days. So if you want to make sandwiches in the next few days, use the aioli. There's plenty of meat in the fridge.
The meat is just nice and tender. I'm unable to cook meat like this. It comes out like a shoe.
Well, that's the thing. That's why they call them minute steaks. If you cook for more than a minute, it comes out like shoe leather.
Yeah.
Now I do them for about a minute and a half, but you're actually eating them medium, and you normally eat your meat well done. So it's quite surprising that you're actually enjoying that.
So good. And then there's the caramelized onions.
Yes.
Perfect. And then the lemon aioli really brings a little sharpness into there. And then the tomato brings the freshness. It's just all the flavors together just harmonize so well. I'm just so happy. Please more.
And the whole thing takes 10 minutes to make. But the thing that takes the longest is making the aioli, and that takes about 3 minutes. So I'll whack another one of those in the frying pan for you because I've got 4 of these minute steaks to do. I'm prepared for
Please do.
pieces of bread, and then I'll get to eat my own.
Yeah.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Simple recipe, easy to make, cheap, filling, tasty as all hell. Since I'm a little bit infamous for not liking onions, and I'm not a huge fan of sliced tomatoes either, this is what my version of the minute steak sandwich looked like. I fried up some mushrooms, and I put a generous portion of grated parmesan all over that red hot steak. Trust me, this was good. Cheap, simple, tasty. Take care, folks. I'll catch you next time.